Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Andy.
I'm Josh.
And again, we're going to be watching another World of Warcraft cinematic. This time, I bet you there's been a lot of people waiting for this one. This one is the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic trailer. For some, this is the ultimate in World of Warcraft cinematics. To me, I think that still stands true to this day. I love this cinematic. The first time I saw this cinematic, I was just explaining this to chat a minute ago. I have never been as hyped for a game before or after the cinematic. This was like absolute peak time for me. This was also peak expansion for me. I played all of the content very thoroughly. Going back and playing Wrath of the Lich King Classic made me realize that I really did experience all of the content, everything the Wrath of the Lich King had to offer at the time, and I didn't miss a dang thing, because that's what I tried to do, is because I was so focused on hardcore raiding, pushing world first for Lich King 25 heroic. I thought maybe I had pigeonholed myself into not enjoying the expansion maybe as much as I could have, but the friends I made along the way, the guild that I was in, the time that I spent with them, and all that Wrath of the Lich King had to offer, for me, it was the ultimate experience. There was no better time to play WoW. I felt like there was always something to do. I never felt like, oh, I need to log on to do my dailies. I wanted to be there experiencing everything this expansion had to offer throughout the entirety of the expansion. Maybe the only, other than maybe Cataclysm, the only World of Warcraft expansion that I didn't take a short break during. This is the ultimate for me. And Josh, we were talking earlier, and he mentioned that this is probably the most recognizable figure, Arthas, the Lich King, and probably the most recognizable expansion. That's because that was literally peak World of Warcraft. The end of Wrath of the Lich King saw the height of the player base. So, up to 15 million people playing this expansion.
This is when it was at its cultural zenith.
Yes.
And so a lot of the memes and all that stuff that I remember are from this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Wrath of the Lich King got me into the longest relationship that I've been in my life. Like a multi-year long, steady relationship. And that was literally because of World of Warcraft. So we bonded over World of Warcraft. So, and at this time I was thinking WoW might become my job. I started streaming originally on a platform that nobody knows anymore, and I can't remember the name of suddenly. Not Angel Fire, something Fire. And because I had the rig to do it, I had disposable income. I was in my early 20s. I think I was 20 when Wrath came out, if I remember right. Yeah, I was 20 when it came out, and disposable income, and it was just the best time in life. I had a $5,000 rig. I could stream at the time. It was 240, 360p, but it was streaming.
Right.
It was live. I was throwing videos up on Fraps, raid guides on YouTube, submitting stuff to WoW Machinima, and it was just it's the glory days of my World of Warcraft career. So it's got a special place in my heart.
It all started
maybe a plate
with this cinematic right here.
Yeah, man. So I think we should probably just jump into it.
Yeah,
I should shut the hell up and let the real artists do the
I
job.
can't remember the last time I watched this one, so I'm kind of excited for this.
It's so good.
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas. child. I watched with pride as you grew into a weapon of righteousness. Remember, our line has always ruled with wisdom and strength. And I know you will show restraint when exercising your great power. Truest victory, my son, is stirring the hearts of your people. I tell you this, for when my days have come to an end, you shall be king.
Shivers, man.
And it really is a break from the model that the first two cinematics set.
Yeah.
Because you don't see any other characters, only Arthas and rambling, shambling undead, and the dragon, of course.
Yeah.
But they're not telling you. Did new races get introduced in this?
No, not at all. They had so by this time BlizzCon was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this got shown at BlizzCon. If I remember right, this is the first year of BlizzCon was for Wrath of the Lich King, and they showed it in a very separate pre-Wrath of the Lich King trailer that was in game. So you got the explanation for all the new stuff coming from Metzen and the guys making WoW. So this is the first cinematic that is like a narrative character piece.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very much it's narratively driven rather than an explanation or an exposition like hey, this is what's
it's
to expect.
It's amazing because there's so much to gush about here. In that, like, you have Arthas sitting on top of his throne, everything's really quiet, and then he puts his foot down and the song Invincible starts, and that's very beautiful and poetic. And you have this this landscape that is just pure ice and snow, and it's like you get the purity, and it's like it's so well portrayed it almost makes you feel a little cold, right? Like you can feel the grasp of winter on you. And so you have all that set up, but then he stabs the sword into the ice, and the whole time King Menethil, his father, is talking.
Yeah.
And just the sheer, you can tell it's something that he heard as a boy, right? Or as a young man, learning his place as the prince of the most powerful kingdom in civilization, and the praise that he's getting from his father about being a weapon of righteousness. And then there's the juxtaposition and the bastardization of where you see him now, right? Where stirring the hearts of his people is the scourge. It's like the biggest threat to mankind and everybody on Azeroth. And stirring the heart of your people, the forests of Lordaeron, it's gripping.
It's because there's like everything is like on a perversion of it, because there are no forests here. It's crags and unforgiving lifelessness. There are no hearts of people to inspire. Only the minds of the undead.
Only the mindless undead that are now given purpose.
That have been given a right. Like it's very much a perversion of what we're seeing
of everything Arthas was supposed to be.
Yeah.
As a paladin of the light, he is like the darkness of the world. You know,
that is well done.
Yeah, it's super well done, and you watch. Some people like to bring this up. You should never do this to your sword. Right, you never stab it into the ground, and that's a trope of basically every fantasy character that's ever wielded a sword ever is going to stab it in the ground at some point. But you see suddenly where everything was very beautiful up until this point, and you're getting this exposition from King Menethil, where it all stops and the action starts, and what the hell is this popping up here,
lurking under the fucking ice?
What is this? And you don't get a good shot of it, like. What is that coming out of the ice? Is this undead? Like, what's happening here? Oh, that looks like a big ass claw, and you don't quite get the sense of scale until
it erupts out of the ice behind him. You're seeing like, oh, because I always get the feeling that from what I've seen so far is that Arthas is actually at this point as the Lich King is a fair-sized creature.
Yeah, he's a man.
Well, I mean, I feel like he was bigger than that because, like, some of the Tauren,
the way he's portrayed in. So we've already watched
at least the same size as a Tauren.
We've already watched like the content of the Wrathgate and stuff like that. So Arthas' scale gets messed with quite a bit, and most of that is for the sake of in-game him being an imposing boss, and also always being visible during combat.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a mechanic of the game, and not necessarily how he's represented.
He's just a
or how he's supposed to be. He's a human, and maybe he is like larger in size. The power of the Lich King is all corrupting, but to my knowledge, it didn't make him any bigger. It makes him more imposing, right? And by the nature of having such large armor and a big ass helmet on, makes him like large and imposing, not just in the threatening way, but larger in scale. But yeah, no, as far as I know, he is just a man, like a big one, but he's just a man, right? So technically, he'd like the trolls, Tauren, orcs when they straighten their back out should probably all be taller than him, if not around the same size. Yeah. But yeah, you have this moment with. So this is not just any dragon, right? Like if you know your lore, even before like WoW historians started to pop up, this is Sindragosa. This is
Blue Guardian.
This is actually the consort of Malygos, who was the blue aspect.
That's right.
Killed by Deathwing, actually.
The black.
Yeah, the leader of the Black Dragon Flight. Deathwing, also the primary bad guy of Cataclysm, which we'll get to. So Deathwing killed her in his madness, and that's part of what drove Malygos crazy, was losing his main consort and all of his clutch. So she was protecting the last clutch of blue eggs in Northrend because it was relatively peaceful before Arthas reawoken and brought back the Scourge. So there was a good time of peace to be had in Northrend, and Deathwing killed her, and now she's being raised in undeath by Arthas. He found her corpse. That was his mission, and he's raised her to start his own brood of unliving.
Ugh.
Yeah, man.
No rest for the poor thing.
No. Even Sindragosa is like a really sad story at the end of the day. Like, not a primary character in World of Warcraft. All she is pretty cinematic and one of the last bosses of Icecrown Citadel. But if you're paying attention while you're playing World of Warcraft, you do get her story while you're questing in Icecrown, the zone of Icecrown, and it's a sad one. Yeah. Not only that, but there's also Christy Golden wrote about the Dragonflight and the aspects, especially particularly Deathwing in the War of the Ancients, because they all had a part to play in the War of the Ancients. So Yeah, really interesting stuff. And, you know, just in case you wanted a little bit of extra background and lore, it's pretty cool. Also, if you look through this is the most replayed area, but look at all the rest. People skipped the opening, and then it's all like average watch time is all really high. People love the cinematic, man. You don't see any of these peaks and valleys.
Well, we kind of already talked about how this changed it up, and it was like really the first narrative, character-driven one. It's 3 minutes and 21 seconds long. There's a little bit of preamble. There's a little bit of, post at the end. That's a lot of storytelling to fit in approximately 2 minutes and 50 seconds, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of storytelling.
Yeah, and so something that you will see as the trailers go on, as we experience our lore, is that the storytelling is always really dense, because every character here has a history. There's never I can't say there's never, but there's rarely a character in Warcraft that's just there to be there. There's never, there's a permanence to like all the names that you see in Warcraft. So, yeah, and that's something that really shows here. Like, they couldn't leave the story of the Lich King alone. He still had a lot more to do before his ultimate demise. And the journey was incredible. It's something that I wish everybody could experience. The unfortunate thing is Wrath of the Lich King Classic is almost over. We're going to be getting Wrath of the Lich King Classic or Cataclysm Classic in the coming months, and then Wrath of the Lich King Classic will be no more. So who knows the next time anybody's going to be able to play classic Wrath of the Lich King era WoW, So the second end of an era is coming, So yeah man, but it's good. It's damn good stuff, dude. And yeah, we're going to be exploring the lore of Wrath of the Lich King and more coming ahead. I'd like to talk about...
I would say Arthas is definitely a character we're going to be diving in on. So.
Yeah. And I mean, just as important, I think, is the Argent Crusade, the Crusaders Colosseum, Ulduar. God, we haven't even touched on Ulduar.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen a little peek at the old gods, and Yogg-Saron is one of them. And he plays a major role in Wrath of the Lich King, man. Ulduar being, like, almost everybody's favorite raid. Anybody who raided during Wrath loves Ulduar. Like, even more than Icecrown Citadel. So...
Damn.
We'll get into more of that lore and then some. So thank you guys so much for being here and watching with us and taking this journey with us. Whether you've played WoW, whether you haven't played WoW, whether you're like Josh or whether you're like Andy, whether you knew the lore before or this is your first, journey into this, we appreciate you being here, and we hope you're here for the next one. Thanks so much.